I'm going to be talking about getElementsByTagNameNS. It is a built-in JavaScript function that you can use on the DOM or an XML string. To read this XML, I need to use a DOM parser. So here we go. And then I need to set up a variable that uses the parse from string from this string here. All right, so this is the thing we're going to be playing with, this XML variable, and that's how we apply the getElementsByTagNameNS. And let's pretend I loaded 3 XML files, each containing a warehouse. This was one file, this was one file, and this was one file, and I concatenated them all together into this XML string here. Now, if you notice, I listed 2 namespaces at the top here in the root element. It doesn't have to be called root, I just called it root. And you denote a namespace with this XML-NS, XML namespace it stands for, as you might guess. And each namespace can be any string. It can be a URL, it can be a URI, it can be just a string, plain old string of whatever. And just so I put 2 of them in here. And the only way that works is if I give each one a prefix. And I gave the first one a prefix of W1, and I gave the second one a prefix of W2. All right, let's do some searches here. So we're going to print out to the console all the IDs from warehouse 1 and then all the IDs from warehouse 2 into the console. All right, let's run that. Oop, here we go. Okay, interesting. In the first, we didn't get anything in the warehouse 2, and we only got 1 out of the warehouse 1. Now, one thing that's pretty tedious is if you would have to apply this prefix to the only one that showed up in the first one is the one I applied this prefix to, this W1 for warehouse 1. Okay. And these just won't be grabbed because the prefix isn't there. So at least you know this is the only one that's going to show up because that's the prefix. So just remember, I'll put a little note here. One sec. You need to make sure the namespace prefix is on any element to get all the sub-elements. Make sure you put the prefix in the opening tag and the closing tag. Now, this counts as the whole element name. It's not like this is the element name with a prefix, okay? So treat this like a whole new element tag name, the whole thing here. So let's do one now where we grab, let me put a separator in here so we don't get confused by all the console logs. The next one we're going to do is we're going to get the namespaces with no namespace. Okay, we're going to get the warehouse, the IDs with no namespaces. Let's see what happens. Ooh, we got 12 of them here. Okay, so where did the 12 come from? So interestingly enough, we got all the IDs that did not have a prefix applied to them, even though this is supposed to be the namespace. However, even though this warehouse 2 has a namespace, the IDs do not. and these 3 out of the 4 do not. So we got 3, 4, 5, and then these 7 to make 12. So that's how we got the 12 there. Let's do a little bit, let's do the other kind of special case where you say asterisk right here. So let's run that. And we got 13. So we got any of them. So that basically just got the same 12, but it included this one with the namespace. Okay, now let's grab, instead of grabbing the IDs directly, let's grab the warehouses and see what happens. All right, let's put another line of X's here to denote a separation. And let's grab all the warehouses with no namespace, which it should be just this one, this last warehouse. Let's see. And probably, let's see. It's only got one warehouse. Let's see how many children it has. Well, we have a div in there, so we got to look inside that and then see how many children that has. It's got 7, so it grabbed these, all 7 of these. So it did it how we expected. And then now let's grab all the warehouses, all 3 warehouses with this asterisk here, right there. And let's run that. Okay, yep, we got all 3 warehouses. We got W1, W2, and the one with no prefix, no namespace. All right, and then all the sub-elements of the IDs are going to be in there, basically. Let's do it another way now. I'm going to manipulate this XML. I'm going to remove this root element. And but before I do that completely, I'm going to apply this namespace to each warehouse that it applies to directly. So, and we're going to take out this prefix. And then we're going to do the same thing to warehouse 2. And oh yeah, we want to take out the prefix. Oops. And then take out this starter of the root. Take that out. Oh, let's take these out too. I took all, okay, I got all the prefix stuff out. Let me quick fix this. There we go. There we go. We got opening and closing tags. Looks good. Oops, I didn't take this one out. Opening, closing tags on the warehouses are good. All right, I'm going to leave this one in here just for fun, this W1 prefix, even though it's not really referenced anywhere. And we'll rerun all the things. There we go. I refreshed the values here. And this is what we get. The first one we get, for warehouse 1, we get 3 IDs, as you'd expect, because this one doesn't really count. This one isn't really an ID because we count this whole thing as the tag name. And so that's obviously not ID, it's W1 ID. The second one, though, what's up with that? It didn't return anything in the HTML collection for warehouse 2, even though we have these 2 items. So why is that? Well, to be honest, I'm not totally sure why. But I do know why it happened actually. Just not why it's happening beyond this one reason. And then as we took out the root element, when you take out the wrapper element, let's just say the root tag that we had here before, it screws things up. It will look at the first. I think what it does is it looks at the first warehouse, and because that doesn't match up, it's not, since this is not warehouse 2, it's not going to put anything in the warehouse 2 one. It just looks at the first one and then just kind of conks out. Let's keep going though. The next one is null. only the null warehouse, which should be this one because there's no namespace in it, and grab all the IDs. Well, we got another empty one, but that's for the same reason we didn't get any for warehouse 2. We go and get all of them, all the warehouses, all the IDs, and all the namespaces. Well, same reason, it only grabs the first one, the first warehouse. And now because it's getting all the namespaces, this counts, this warehouse 1 counts for any namespace. So that's why we get those 3 there. And then so on and so forth. We just get for all the, we only get the first one. Like we don't get any for the null because that's number 3 in line, so it doesn't even get there for this one here. And then for the last one, it gets all the warehouses, so it'll grab the first warehouse again. And anyway, so let's add the root back in. We can call it anything. Let's call it potato. And then we'll do another one here. We got to match it up and call it potato. And we'll rerun it, and everything should work then as expected. There we go. Okay, yeah, that looks better. So we get 3 for warehouse 1 here like we expect, and there's the 3. Then the next 2 show up for warehouse 2. That's good. And then we get all the no name warehouses, which should just be this 7 IDs. Sure enough, we get 7 IDs. That's for this third one. Okay, now for this wildcard asterisk, get all the IDs. So that should get all the IDs in the whole thing without this one. So let's see, that's 7 here, 7, 8, 9, 10, should be 12. Yep, we get 12 here. So that's all of them except for this, except for this first weird one. That's good. And then for this, the last 2 things, we get only the warehouses with a null namespace, which will be only this last warehouse worth of IDs. And the IDs are underneath here. You can search for IDs underneath this element then if you want. Anyway, the last one will get all the warehouses. Sure enough, it got all 3 warehouses. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.